Story of Saints. November 10th is the feast day of Saint Leo the Great. Born around the year 400, Leo I is the first of 4 popes to receive the title of the Great, and also the oldest of only 2 popes who are recognized as Doctor of the Church. Leo began his papacy in the year 440 and shortly afterward implemented multiple guidelines that would continue to define how the Church functions over 1,500 years later. The first of Leo the Great's accomplishment is in combating rampant heresy. At the time, some clergies from Aquileia was practicing heresy of Pelagianism. Pelagianism is a belief that humans, who are granted free will, have full control over their decision to sin or not sin, and consequently can achieve perfection by living a completely moral life on their own efforts. However, St. Leo stressed that according to Catholics' teaching, we can only be perfect through both our own determination and the grace of God, emphasizing the existence of original sin and God's perpetual role in our life. Leo highlights the papal primacy of his position as the head of the Church to denounce these unorthodox beliefs, removing the clerical authority of these heretics until they publicly renounce their prior practices. Another of Leo the Great's accomplishment is his stance on the dual nature of Christ as both God and man. At the time, another heretic belief known as Priscillianism was growing in Spain. Priscillianism is the belief that the body of man is inherently evil, calling people to practice extreme asceticism as a way of repentance. Another heretic belief called Monophysitism also emerges around the same time, which claimed that Christ only have one divine nature. However, these 2 beliefs contradict many verses from the Bible, such as in Genesis 1 verse 31 and 1 Timothy 4 verse 4, which explicitly state that everything that God created is a good, which also includes the human body and the food that we consume. Furthermore, Hebrews 4 verse 15 argues for Christ's human nature, "For we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses, but one who has similarly been tested in every way, yet without sin," which explained that Jesus came down from heaven and embodied the full essence of mankind. Leveraging his authority as the Pope and connection with then Roman Emperor Valentinian III, St. Leo the Great established the Council of Chalcedon to clarify Catholics' teaching on the duality of Jesus Christ, mitigating the spread of these 3 heretic beliefs. Through his role in overseeing the Council of Chalcedon, St. Pope Leo established himself as the one bishop of Rome and head of the Church, consequently gathering the many scattered and weak branches of Christianity to form a more solid foundation for the Catholic Church. Later on in 451, as northern Italy was threatened by an invading force led by Attila the Hun, Pope Leo went ahead to meet with them in an effort to make peace, and according to legends, St. Peter and Paul appeared standing behind Leo the Great holding large swords, which led Attila the Hun and his army to retreat in fear before they could reach Rome. 3 years later, another invading army led by Genseric reached the gate of Rome, and while the city fell to their hands, Pope Leo the Great was able to persuade them to spare the Archbasilica of St. John Lateran and the Basilica of Saints Peter and Paul. Pope Leo's last 10 years in Rome were spent preaching and teaching, leaving behind about 100 sermons and 150 letters before his death in the year 461, where he became the first pope buried in St. Peter Basilica after its creation in the year 360. Fun fact, 148 out of 266 popes were buried in St. Peter Basilica. That's more than 50% of popes. In one of his most well-known letters describing the miraculous power of God in his life, and also a testament against the heretical belief of Pelagianism that the saint eradicated, St. Leo the Great wrote, "Without Christ we can do nothing, but with him we can do all." Let us ask for St. Leo the Great's intercession, asking God to shine his mercy on us, and by the grace of God, may we find success in all of our moral endeavors. In order to continue learning about a new saint every day, click the subscribe button below and ring the bell to turn on your notification. Thank you, and may God be with you always.